All right, guys, another loss for the Utah Jazz in a winnable game against the Miami Heat. This is the Utah Jazz postgame show on the Hoops Nerd channel. This is a rough one for the Jazz. I'm not going to lie. This was a game they really should have won. I know it's in Miami, but they had Tyler Johnson. I think also Goran Dragic sat out. And he did sit out. What am I talking about? Not a game the Jazz should have lost, because they should have had a dominating game from the wing and in general, but they just did not. The Jazz looked like what I think they did is had a real nice night out in Miami the night before. And, you know, the Jazz start the first quarter off right and get a big time lead. And then it was all Miami the rest of the game. So we'll talk about Miami a little bit. They've got nice players. Josh Richardson is turning out to be just quietly one of the better players in the league. Just his efficiency is nice. Tonight, the Jazz actually guarded him well. He was, 4 for 16 from the field. But he's a good shooter and he's a good player. I need to watch more of Josh Richardson in general, though. I haven't seen a lot of him. I don't see a lot of Miami Heat games, but I am going to watch more after tonight. Definitely was rooting for you guys in the playoffs. Oh, you were so close to beating Philadelphia, but dang it. I like James Johnson. I like, I think what's his name, left early actually, and the Jazz still found a way to lose. Justice Winslow. I think Winslow's a really nice player. They've got a lot of nice, strong, athletic, defensive players, and they find it just seems like they struggle to score with kind of the elite teams out there. But what happened tonight is Miami does what they do, and they played great defense. Whiteside was an absolute monster tonight and really outplayed Rudy Gobert in a lot of ways. Rudy had to find a way to box him out of the paint and just couldn't. Whiteside tonight had 20 rebounds, and that was part of what won the game for the Heat, because you know, he's a great shot blocker, but I don't always consider Whiteside a great defender. There's a difference between being a good shot blocker and a great rim protector, and the Jazz, you know, just got dominated by Whiteside tonight. It was his offensive rebounding that was just killer, and he blocked some shots on the Jazz that, you know, one shot in this game's different, and so Whiteside was the difference in this game. And Dwyane Wade, that foul call at the end against Rudy goes either way. I'm surprised the refs even called that, but if it's a foul, it's a foul, and you've got to find a way to score. And the Jazz have Ingles, Korver, Donovan, all missed shots at the end of the game, and that was it. So really tough. The Jazz did what they did against Charlotte, and that's why I was nervous about that Charlotte victory, and it showed up tonight. The Jazz did not have a monster game from Crowder, and they did not have a monster game from Korver, and so the defensive issues showed up again. The second quarter was an absolute dumpster fire for the Utah Jazz. And Quinn Snyder can keep blaming Dante, and I know you guys want me to... I'm going to talk about Dante a lot. And if you have a problem with it, cry about it. Go cry to your mommy. Go get a teddy bear and fall asleep, little babies. Little babies who have a problem with me talking about what I want. If you want, go to some other Jazz YouTuber. But tonight, it showed exactly what I was worried about last time with Charlotte. We needed a defensive stop. So there's two parts to this. Neto got torched. He missed on that one three-point play. He absolutely missed an assignment and gave up a wide open three. And that was part of it. But the Jazz have another problem right now, and it's outside of Neto and Dante and whatever. It's that Derrick Favors can't protect the rim. He absolutely can't. He can't stop a thing, you know? And I know that no one is quite like Rudy Gobert in terms of just his ability to protect the rim like no one else. He's absolutely phenomenal. But Derrick Favors isn't even in the ballpark. Favors is a great off-ball shot blocker, and he does contain power forwards pretty well one-on-one. He's a good one-on-one defender and things like that. But man, when he's just kind of a reactionary rim protecting big, he is nowhere near Rudy Gobert. And that showed up tonight. Like, he was just a sieve. And so when you have players like Neto, who is just unable to keep in front of their man, and other players like just our guards in general, were not able to stay in front of their guys, it's rough because Favors won't stop him. He's Olay defense at that rim right now. And I think some of it maybe because those knees are catching up. I don't know. But January 15th can't get closer, honestly, for some sort of trade, because Favors doesn't really work in the starting lineup, and as a rim protecting big, this team isn't set up to work with that. It's, Favors would work better in another system that works well with his strengths, but on this team, it's just not. And so when we have players like, Neto and other guys just giving up lanes to the rim, open space and floor and prairie, there's nothing that Derrick can do about it. Rudy stops it. Derrick cannot. So it's rough right now for the Jazz on second units. 2 games in a row. Second quarter, big time run against Charlotte. It was 14-2 run for the bench unit. Tonight, the Jazz were up like 35-15 at the first quarter, and it was tied at halftime or something. So this second unit needs to play defense. And Quinn drops Dante from the starting lineup, and look what happens. And then he puts him in for 155 in the second half. How insulting is that? Both to Neto and to Exum. Because to Neto, you're saying, you know what? You just weren't very good. You didn't guard anyone and whatever. You're just going to sit on the bench. And then to Dante for 155. And Donovan Mitchell has a turnover on one end. They create transition on the other. Dante actually scored the 1 point in the run that while he was on the floor, and Quinn pulls him. That is not a way to bring a player's confidence up. What are you doing? Either play him or don't. Don't play him for 155 and expect magic to happen, especially after sitting him for a game and a half, putting him in the doghouse. And then, of course, he's going to come in. And 155, does anyone do anything in 155? 155? It's not good. It's not good. Guys, the Jazz will do better, but tonight was a bad loss, and the Jazz should feel bad about it. One other thing, Joe Ingles is such a bellwether whether this team is good or not. 5 for 13 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3, and we lose. If Ingles makes one more of those threes or one more bucket, it's a different game. Ingles, if he doesn't hit his shots, we don't win as much games. Kyle Korver tonight, 1 for 6. It's like I told you guys. Korver 1 for 6. Ingles 5 for 13. We lost. That means defense matters. Defense matters. Defense matters. How many times do we have to say this? Defense. It matters. It matters. All right, like and subscribe this video, guys. We'll talk later.